Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video, and since we don't have anything significant happening until later in the week with the big mid-season patch, I thought I would do one of my various cleansing rituals in where I talk about the type of currencies in the game and how we can still get rid of a good amount of these, given that I think they can be a little overwhelming for new players to try and figure out what's going on, and they just have all of this crap that is, if you saw this page and you were a new player, you would be like, what the hell's going on? Granted, new players won't have all of these, but if they play through the expansions, they're going to start collecting this stuff, and that's not going to be great. We have gotten better. This used to be almost completely full, and a lot of stuff has been cut. I think one of the best things they have done was to get rid of planetary materials. I still have at least some of these left that can be turned in for Glimmer still at a reduced rate, but I don't think we needed like 8 planets or moons worth of currency taking up slots here. They all serve effectively the same purpose, and I do think it was a very good call to get rid of those, so you no longer need them to spend on what did you buy them with? Like, I think upgrade modules cost planetary materials. Ascendant shards, I think, cost some, and there was just no point to that. So that was a good call to get rid of those, although I think there is a lot more cutting we can do here. Very, very significant amounts of things, I think, can be cut here still, even though they're having some improvements. So I'll just kind of go through these. Forsaken Cipher, I don't even think I can spend this, and I can't delete it because I think I have everything from Forsaken, so there's nothing to actually buy with this. Maybe there's some way to turn this in for something that I don't know about, but I don't really know what to do with this right now. I guess I could check on the monument, but I'm not sure. Exotic Ciphers, we know that these are going to be newly relevant because you will need to spend one of these to target focus an exotic, so that does in fact come with a specific purpose. Previously, these are for getting older exotics or some of the older ritual weapons, but now you're going to be able to stack these up to 5. So I'm not going to say to cut this because this is going to be something that is useful in the future. I actually really like the Engram tracker. I think it's very useful, and instead of just listing all this stuff up here for more clutter, I do sort of like the way this works, where you can just at a glance see all of the engrams you have with your vendors. One thing they also did with this page is they totally cleaned up this, where there's no more umbral engrams and you don't keep your vendor engrams in here. I do think that this is really, this has been nothing but prime engrams and Eververse engrams now, so this is almost rarely full. It takes a long time to fill it up with just prime engrams. Now that exotic engrams are dropping non-decrypted, I do wonder if they're being stored in here. If so, that may not be great, because if you run into these, to focus them requires an Ascendant Shard each, or 3 if you're target focusing them. So it would essentially require you to spend that once you got full here, or you would just have to free focus them and get a totally random exotic. So I am curious to see how this is going to feel once exotics are dropping as non-decrypted engrams. Ascendant Alloy, I am currently maxed on that because sometimes I get paralyzed spending these because I don't know if I'm committing to the wrong perk or not, or I don't know if the perk is worth it. I would spend these more freely, I guess, if there were more sources of Ascendant Alloy, but these sources right now are essentially do extremely long Legend or Master campaign missions, or run things like Master Wellspring. There just is not that many sources of these. At least I think there's a lot more sources of shards. I did just find out that Legend Dares now drops Ascendant Shards, which I had no idea that was the case. I think that's new as of this season. I had no idea it did that. Obviously, the main source of these is from Nightfalls, and they made it more accessible to drop these at lower levels. Like Legend can now drop Ascendant Shards given the difficulty increase. We are going to need a lot more Ascendant Shards to come if you're going to be spending 3 of these to focus exotic armor, plus I assume another 3 to masterwork them still. So that's a whole lot of Ascendant Shards. Obviously, I am of the position that they should remove the caps on these of 10. 10 is way too low. and then you store 10 in your postmaster on each character, and that's very annoying. At least with no blues now, they will not be pushed out as easily as they were before. Another great, obviously a great change that I am fully supportive of, where it is a lot harder to fill up your postmaster completely now compared to what it was before, but still, I think this cap should be raised. One more change they made that I think was a good one, and at least a good middle ground in terms of being able to get rid of these and have them serving no purpose. You can now turn in dark fragments for glimmer. You can also turn in these are used for. They used to do this thing where they would like charge you ridiculously specific currencies for bounties for these different zones. So that was this. That is, I think you had to spend Heroes pieces on bounties from Varix. Strange coins are for bounties from Starhorse. Is that all of them? Phantasmal cores. I think those. No, that's for like getting the weapons. It's similar, but it's a little different. All of those, I think, could just be depreciated, and you can just buy those bounties for Glimmer. I don't see a reason to keep them the way they are. This might just be something that's like hard-coded into the game, and it's one of those things that sounds easy to convert, but is maybe not easy. There's a few things on this list like that. Like Tincture Queenfoil, like obviously we don't need these per se. I think I can just spend them, and maybe I won't get any more, so maybe I should just do that. But in a perfect world, there would be some other way to like do the whole, it's like this is essentially like Deep Sight from the Witch Queen, except it's an actual currency. Same thing. I believe there should be a way to just activate Blind Well without using Charges of Light. I think they should just convert Blind Well to, in a perfect world, be match made, but also just be all the highest tier instead of having the current system. But that sounds, again, like something that is probably more trouble than it's worth, and I guess I could probably just discard these, and so long as I'm not doing a bunch of Dreaming City things, I might not get more. This is... What is this? I think this is from the Witch Queen? Something in the Witch Queen for some like very specific achievements, but again, I could probably just delete that. And then you store your mementos in here, which is very annoying. I don't really think that is a good place for them, especially if you have like all the different ones. It just takes up space. Treasure keys, I guess, can stay for opening treasure hoards. Like, the 30th anniversary content is still somewhat relevant for farming certain things, so I don't have a huge problem with that one. Hymn of Desecration, I accidentally opened one of these on my Warlock, and it's like just stayed there forever because I haven't run Pit. So, it increased chance at a weapon drop. Like, just drop the weapon. We don't need this. I already talked about these. They were kind of a relic of a bygone era. Raid banners. Don't need raid banners. I think they should kill the whole raid banner system. It's just annoying. It's just a currency sink, and they've shown from the story mission things that we don't really need these anymore because they can just do free ones. Spoils of Conquest, probably not going to get rid of those. Probably should increase that cap a little bit. Terminal Overload Keys, this is another currency from the current expansion, which is obviously relevant right now, but in the future, I imagine you're not going to want these hanging around. Upgrade modules, probably one of my least favorite things in the game. Ridiculously, stupidly huge currency sink, and you always feel the need to like upgrade stuff just a few points more. I have to believe that the new power system that's coming should just get rid of these entirely. This seems like a relic of a power system that nobody really likes, and I don't think that there's going to be a need for these in the future, but they are, I would say, one of the most currently annoying things in the game. Handsome Prisms, we're not going to get rid of those. Those are pretty baked into the economy at this point. Obviously, the massive, overwhelming agreement that Finest Matterweave and Rainmakers should not exist. If you see if you would have dropped a Finest Matterweave from dismantling an item, just give us the core. This is just a core with extra steps. There's no reason this should exist. Rainmakers, you should just get a burst of Glimmer instead of a Rainmaker. As you can see, I am working my way through the cores, or the Finest Matterweaves, over time. Some people have hundreds. Rainmakers, I'm never going to get through 550 of those, and you can't just dismantle them because you have to do them one at a time. Enhancement cores, those are not going anywhere. Obviously, we covered these as kind of unnecessary currencies. These, I don't understand. I don't understand why you're holding these, and why those can't just be in Like, just add them to this. Again, I've always pushed for a non-capped synthweave transmog system, but like I'm still not clear on like why you hold these here. There might be some sort of economic reason I'm missing here, but I don't really get this. Phantasmal Fragment, that's like another moon currency that doesn't really need to exist. More charges. Harmonic Alloy, this is one of the last, this and Resonant Alloy. Is this the raid one? And then this is the normal one. This is one of the last actual crafting currencies that exist, considering that they have killed off all the other ones. So it's Ascendant Alloy for enhanced perks, and then this for shaping new weapons. It just I don't think it needs to exist. Like I rarely have I don't think I've ever been like lacking in either. I barely raid and I still have a bazillion harmonic alloy and resonant alloy. Like it doesn't seem like it needs to exist because it's never something you're low on. Planetary materials are about to go. Strand meditations. So once you hit max strand on all classes, these will stop dropping. I have 40 left over. I guess I could discard them, but we know that we're getting additional strand fragments next. Wait, aspects, probably aspects and fragments next time. So you might have to spend these again. So I guess I'll keep the 40 here. But again, I think about half this stuff could be cut. They have done a good job of reducing things down to kind of the base essentials. Things mostly just cost enhancement cores, glimmer, and legendary shards now. I know some people are running into problems with 1, 2, or 3 of those. Legendary shards for most people seems to be kind of an issue. I know some people are running into core problems, and then some people have stacks of like 999 cores. So it kind of depends on how you play, what activities you do, what you're spending things on. If you were a crazy shard gambler, like for the one time where you could like get infinite copies of that one trials weapon, I know people spent thousands and thousands on that because costs were higher and you could just keep spamming it endlessly. I was never like a crazy focuser person and I play a ton, so obviously I have a good stack of that. Glimmer has been I have really been running low on Glimmer with all the stuff that costs huge amounts of Glimmer now. So I have literally been dedicated farming public events now for like 15k Glimmer a pop, which is kind of wild. I never thought I'd be doing that, but that is probably something I've been really low on. I've spent probably 400 cores this season alone on things, given the high cost of crafting now. Like it's 17 cores to do an upgraded like intrinsic frame on each weapon, and you know how many weapons we've been crafting this season. So I've literally been running Banshee's bounties like every day for 4 cores per character, in addition to spending matter weaves, and I'm still barely over 500. I dipped down to 400 something at my lowest, but yeah. So I think we're in a much better place than we were a little while ago, but still a lot of bloat here, still a lot of stuff that might be confusing for new players. So I think there's still room to cut, but. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will talk about the changes to the sandbox and all those buffs and stuff as the week goes on. I don't know if that's a Tuesday patch or a Thursday patch, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, thanks for watching. I will talk to you soon. Take care.